Welcome to today's Explainer. We're putting on our scrubs today, folks. Well, appliance scrubs anyway. We're performing a full-blown autopsy on a notoriously frustrating patient, the modern induction stove. Specifically, we're diagnosing that incredibly annoying on but cold mystery. We're going to break down exactly how these complex machines operate, figure out the root causes of their failures, and learn exactly how to bring them back to life. Look, picture this for a second. You've got all your ingredients prepped, you're starving, you tap the power button on that sleek glass cooktop. The display lights up, you get that familiar, reassuring little beep, and then nothing. The pan is just ice cold. It is honestly the ultimate DIY frustration. These modern appliances can feel like totally impenetrable black boxes, leaving us feeling completely helpless when they die right before dinner. But today, we're cracking that box wide open. So let's dive right in and check the patient's chart. If your stove is failing, it's going to leave you some pretty clear clues. You might see an E7 flashing at you, which Electrolux literally calls out as a major cry for help in their documentation. Maybe you're hearing these loud, clunky clicking noises, or the whole thing just suddenly shuts itself off after a few seconds. You might even catch a faint, terrifying burning smell. Listen, these aren't just random glitches, okay? They're specific symptoms of a systemic failure. Now here's the wild paradox of induction cooking. To blast your food with massive amounts of heat, the electronics inside the stove absolutely must stay ice cold. In a healthy unit, you'll hear this smooth, quiet fan hum regulating the internal voltage, pumping steady heat to your cookware. But a choked stove? Totally different beast. You get irregular noises, crazy heat building up inside the chassis, and power relays literally welding themselves shut from the stress.
Yikes.
And that brings us to a massive aha moment in our diagnosis. The technicians over at Arabem Electrical Works hit the nail on the head here. They noted that the electrical supply simply will not go to the integrated circuit if the cooling fan doesn't run. The fan isn't just an accessory to keep things quiet, it is the ultimate gatekeeper of the entire system. If that fan isn't spinning at the correct speed, the brain of your stove flat out refuses to send juice to the heating coils. And there's a very good reason for that. It's called the safety shutdown. See, a faulty fan causes super rapid overheating, which immediately threatens this highly sensitive little component called the insulated gate bipolar transistor, or IGBT for short. To stop a totally catastrophic meltdown of those pricey electronics, the main controller triggers an immediate shutdown. So when your stove refuses to turn on, it's not just being stubborn, it's actually protecting itself from melting its own circuitry. Okay, so if the fan is the VIP gatekeeper, why do they fail all the time? Well, let's look at the physical evidence. Sometimes it's a snapped lead wire caused by the constant vibration of a loose internal subboard. Other times, and diagnostics from FixBond point this out, you lose that steady 18-volt DC supply the motor desperately needs. But honestly, very often it's just years of sticky kitchen grease, dust, and pet hair acting like literal cement and completely jamming the rotor. Or simply, the motor has just degraded over time. And when that fan gives up the ghost, other parts take the hit. Enter the power relay. Think of this as the heavy-duty electrical switch that regulates the high-voltage floodgates coming from your wall outlet to the induction coils. Because it's handling so much power, it gets incredibly hot. If your cooling fan isn't giving it a nice breeze, the internal contacts of this relay can literally melt and weld themselves together. And just like that, no power reaches your coils. Now here's another sneaky hidden culprit, the run capacitor. This little piece is wired up to the fan motor, usually with brown and white wires. The experts at ToolsWeek point out that a busted capacitor is often the real reason a motor acts dead. So before you drop cash on a whole new fan assembly, take a good hard look at this capacitor. You're checking for obvious physical trauma, ruptures, dents, or bulging right at the top. Actually, a good visual inspection is always your best first line of defense. If you pop that stove open, flip those circuit boards upside down like a pro repair tech, you're hunting for obvious thermal damage. Check the end-line fuse. Look for dark, charred burn spots near that power relay we just talked about. Scan the board for yellow or brown discoloration. That's a dead giveaway for a bad solder connection. You might even spot microscopic holes in the solder joints where the connection has completely crumbled. If your eyes don't spot the villain, it's time to move into the treatment phase of our medical model. Grab a digital multimeter. Think of this thing as a stethoscope for electronics. It lets us check the electrical highway inside the stove to see if there's a roadblock somewhere. In electrical terms, we're checking for continuity and resistance. All right, let's see how this actually builds into an actionable diagnostic test. Here's your exact sequence. First, and this is absolutely crucial, safely unplug the motor from its power supply. Second, set your digital multimeter to measure ohms, which is the symbol for resistance. Third, you're going to carefully touch the metal probes to specific wire combinations on the fan motor. And finally, you just check the display to see if the number matches the expected resistance. And here is the ultimate cheat sheet you need to decipher those readings. If you test the white run wire and the white brown wire, you should be looking at 1 to 2 ohms. The brown start wire and white, that should give you 32 to 40 ohms. Brown and black usually sit around 15 ohms, and white and black should be near 20 ohms. Oh, and a massive safety reminder here. Never, ever test these wires while the fan blade is physically moving. If you do, your readings will be completely irregular and useless. So, what does this all mean? Well, the huge red flag you're looking for is a big, flat 0. If you touch your probes to a circuit and that multimeter reads 0, or maybe displays an OL for open loop, you've found the culprit. A 0 reading means you've either got a broken cable internally or a dead short to ground. That electrical highway is totally washed out, and yep, that part has to be replaced. Before you go completely tearing things apart, let me give you a few insider pro tips to save you a massive headache. First off, sometimes the stove just needs a hard reset. Go ahead and disconnect the appliance from your main household electrical breaker for a full 30 seconds. That can sometimes clear out error codes like that E7. Second, use attachable alligator clips on your multimeter probes so you get a steady grip and don't get false readings. And lastly, please don't guess where parts go. Call the manufacturer's parts department with your serial number and ask for an exploded parts view diagram. Seriously, it is an absolute lifesaver. Of course, the best surgery is the one you never even have to perform, which brings us to the final stage of our explainer, preventative care. As we've learned, the lifespan of those incredibly delicate electronic circuits completely relies on keeping the stove's internal airways clear. Proper physical maintenance is really the only way to avoid these frustrating, dinner-ruining burnouts in the first place. The good news? The physical cleaning process is super straightforward and highly actionable. You can absolutely do this yourself. Step 1, unplug the stove and wait for it to be 100% cool. Step 2, grab a screwdriver and remove those bottom panel screws to access the fan cavity. Step 3, take a soft brush or a little mini vacuum and gently clear the dust off the fan blades and the metal heatsink fins. And finally, grab a cotton swab to clear out the tiny air vents and just give those fan blades a quick look to make sure there are no hairline cracks. Now, while you're doing this, there are a couple of golden rules you must follow. First, absolutely do not ever spray water directly onto the fan or the circuit boards, and no harsh chemical detergents either. Moisture is the ultimate enemy of a printed circuit board. It will literally cause a fatal short circuit. Instead, do use a soft dry brush, a mini vacuum cleaner, or at most, a very slightly damp cloth if you have to wipe away stubborn heavy grease. To keep your stove breathing easy, you've got to stick to a routine schedule. If you're running a restaurant or a high-capacity commercial kitchen, this cleaning needs to happen every single month. For a standard family cooking dinner at home every night, aim for every 3 months. And if you rarely use the stove, you can stretch that out to every 6 months. Just remember, a clean, well-ventilated stove is a stove that lasts for years. All right, so we've walked through the symptoms, diagnosed our electronic gatekeepers, learned how to test the circuits, and locked down our preventative care. It all comes back to airflow. Which leaves me with one final question for you. The next time you fire up your cooktop, lean in and listen closely. Is your stove gasping for air right now? Trust me, don't wait for that E7 error code to find out. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy, well-ventilated cooking.